Welcome to Truman's Town Hall with your host, Matt Truman.
Hello. This is Matt Truman. Thank you for downloading this episode. Thank you for sharing with a friend. Today on the podcast, we have Mark Passage. He's running for the school board in the city of Beavercreek. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mark Passage. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have Mr. Mark Passage. He's running for the school board in the city of Beavercreek. Mr. Passage, thank you for joining us on Truman's Town Hall.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's, if you don't mind, would you give us a little background about yourself? And
Sure. Well, I grew up in Beavercreek. I went through the entire Beavercreek school system. Graduated in 2003. Joined the Army shortly after. Got myself in the Airborne Infantry. Did a nice little fun tour in Afghanistan and Iraq. Let's see, got my combat infantry badge in Afghanistan, an ARCOM, and a Purple Heart while I was there. The Afghanis were wanting to give me for my time there. It was quite comical. But let's see. After that, got home, was working on my degree at Sinclair, almost finished, and then President Obama decided, hey, I need to take a trip to Iraq. So he did the largest IR recall since the Vietnam era. So me and about 5,000 other recent infantry guys that got out had to go back. Was there for about a year, got home, finished my degree at Wright Sinclair, finished my business degree at Wright State, bounced around a few jobs, finally got a job at Wright-Patterson, working for the Air Force, and got myself a family, and basically been living in Beavercreek with my family ever since. And
awesome.
My oldest daughter is going to Fairbrook. She's enjoying it there. Her first grade year was a bit rough. That was the COVID year. Her second grade year started off a little rough, which is why I'm getting a little more involved into school politics.
Excellent. I was in the Army as well. I was a combat medic. I got the combat medic badge, so I understand how that infantry badge goes. So thank you for your service. I appreciate that.
Thank you for yours.
You're labeled as a write-in candidate. How does that work?
Well, the cutoff date to be a normal candidate, that's when they put your name on the ballot, was the first day of school, where, for months they were telling parents, no, there's not going to be any mandates, no, there's not going to be any masks, we're going to have a new normal school year.
Right.
And you as well know, first day of school, now we're mandating masks. So I went down to the school board to get some questions answered, and I don't know if you were there or participated, but there was quite the angry mob, as most parents were very upset with on both sides of what was going on. I just wanted some legitimate answers of why the flip-flop.
Right.
So what I viewed and what I took out of it as majority of the board members were afraid to make a stand or actually say what they were trying to say. So they hid behind numbers and normal political answers, which just got under my skin. So I went down to the Board of Elections. They said, well, you're behind the deadline. So the only thing you do is be a write-in candidate. $35. I was like, put me in.
All right. So how is your campaign going right now?
Well, like I said, I'm a little late to the game, so I am behind the curveball. But I've been talking to a few people. I'm a little shocked about the League of Women's. We talked quite a bit, but they never asked for my bio. They never asked for any information like that. And then in the newspaper today, there's nothing about me other than I'm a write-in candidate. But I have talked to the Dayton Daily News. I have talked to other organizations, and they have all my information. They've been posting it. But I have no real candidacy money. So you're probably not going to see a whole lot of signs on next to the road with my name on it, simply because those are not cheap,
Right.
which was surprising to me to find out.
Right.
So that's where I am currently. I'm on Facebook. I
What's
got
your
my name out the best I could.
Where can folks find you on Facebook?
It's Mark Passage for School Board, Beavercreek
right.
School Board.
So if you are elected, what are your plans for the Beavercreek School Board?
In my current job, I am an accountant of sort. So I want to get into the books. I want to see where money's being spent, where things are actually being done. That's just on an investigative scale, because the Beavercreek School Board has had a history of wasteful spending and illegal spending in some aspects. I don't know how far back your history goes about Beavercreek, but Beavercreek's got a pretty bad history of spending money illegally.
I'm actually fairly new to Beavercreek, actually. I grew up in Huber Heights. So we moved here we moved back from Texas in 2019. July of 2019, and we moved to Beavercreek in December of 2019. So I'm fairly new, actually.
Oh, well, the most recent one then would be actually the Board of Education building.
Okay.
The money that they use is allocated for school education buildings. Well, there's no education going on in the Board of Elections building, obviously. So that money was used illegally.
Okay.
So what they did is they built the special pre-K preschool right next door and connected it by a hallway.
Ah, I see.
So that's how they finagled around that. But we can go years back of school boards having problems. So bylaws need to get put into the school board to prevent such things, and punishments done for when the school board does these things. So one of the things bylaw that I would like to put in for these types of cases, of course, the legal writing has to be put down correctly, but it'd be a go along of, if the board does these type of actions, nobody on the board can run for election. They're gone.
Okay.
That's a simple bylaw. The mask mandates, basically they are requiring students to wear a medical device, which nobody on the board is a doctor, and nobody has a medical license. So, and it's no longer a state of emergency. So, let's see, Greene County Health, Ohio Health, nobody's saying it's an emergency. So the mask mandates are, in my eyes, is illegal. So it needs to be parents' choice. Parents need to be the ones responsible for their kid. And the schools, educators, principals, the school board just backs up the parents' choice. That simple.
Right.
So another bylaw that I would like to get in is to cement that. Stop future boards from doing things that they should not be doing.
So you'd like to see
In general, governments work best when they're limited.
I would definitely agree on that.
So this government, this school board, is too wild, and it needs to be limited.
So there are, I believe, 3 slots open for the school board.
Correct.
And you're a write-in candidate.
Mm-hmm.
There's another person running who is not on the school board, and then there are several other folks who currently sit on the school board. So if you are elected, and let's just say that you're the lone person on that school board, how do you intend to help educate the other school board members to remove this mask mandate that they have in place?
Well, the board works on a 4-vote. There's 5 members, so 4-vote wins. So if it's just me standing on a hill,
right,
there's I won't be able to change minds. So it would be just a lot of communication, a lot of talking, a lot of showing facts. But at the end of the day, these are grown adults. Changing a mind on a grown adult is near impossible. Everybody's already dug in their foxholes, and nobody wants to really move in other ways.
So you need community involvement to help you get to where I think a lot of us really want to go.
Right.
I read an article in the Dayton Daily News recently where we had the most requests for exemptions on masks, and
Correct.
And none of them were restricted.
Correct.
I'm glad to see that, but I think if we are going to, as a community, not restrict any requests to remove masks from our kids, why not just remove the mandate? That's something that I was just curious about. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, this is speculation, but I think it has to do with backdoor dealings or letters from the governor wanting the school boards to take all these actions, because his health departments were not going to back him up of continuing a state of emergency. So I don't know why he focused on schools, but that is just my hypothesis. Like I said, I have no facts, I have no data, I got nothing, no proof. It was very odd. Roughly that same week where nobody's got masks, and now all these schools have masks that need or want state funding. That need or want state funding in their schools. So schools that don't really care about state funding, none of them have masks.
Right.
That's my only proof to say.
So this may be a hypothetical, but last year we had on the ballot, I think it was last year or 2019, but we had a levy on the ballot. Mm-hmm. Do you think, and this is just hypothetical for those listening, but do you think that a mask mandate would be in place if a levy was going forward on this election? Because I don't think so.
So I know the levy you're talking about, it was 2019, it was supposed to be emergency because they need the extra money to take care of mass expenses. They had a lot of wasted spending, so they needed money to take care of, I can't remember all the details because it was 2 years ago, and it was a one-time levy.
Right,
and
a renewal.
They brought it up again and said it wasn't going to increase your taxes, but then again they lied. They said originally it was a one-time, now it's not a one-time, and it's just proof in the pudding of this board, the school organization, are just wasteful spenders.
I always find it interesting when governments say this isn't going to increase your taxes, yet if you don't pass it, which in all fairness, I did vote for that levy. I was new to the community, and I moved here specifically for the school district because it was a great school district. Mm-hmm. But I always find it interesting when governments say this is not going to increase taxes, yet if you don't vote for a levy, it will lower your taxes. But anyway.
Right.
What other types of things? Are you out knocking doors and getting folks involved? How are you out there promoting yourself?
Well, unfortunately, I have a 9-to-5 job. Like I said, I work for the Air Force at Wright Pat, so I really don't have a whole lot of time to knock on doors. Me and my wife, my family, we moved in a new house in Beavercreek.
Okay.
And we're getting the house in order. I'm fixing this, helping out there. I spend as much time as I got available. So most of it is talking to friends and family, saying, hey, let you know that I'm running. If anybody wants to talk, just talk to me or ask questions. Here I am. But most of them already know me or met me. So like, yeah, you got my vote, so on and so forth. So like I said, I don't have a whole lot of ability to do outreach to people that I don't come in contact on a day-to-day basis. I'm not knocking on doors. I'm not a big fan of people knocking on doors, especially in this day and age. It's just probably not the best way to go about getting your name out there, because people are the more hesitant side of just talking to somebody right at their door. It's just how I see, unfortunately, the culture that we're living in. So I'm on Facebook. I reach out to organizations like the Women's League, Dayton Daily News. I tried to reach out to the Beavercreek newspaper, but obviously I'm hitting brick walls over there. Let's see. There was a conservative group that I was recently talking to. It's a new one that they're just getting off the ground, but they're more focused on 2023, and they were asking if I was interested in running for the other two positions that would be opening then. I said, well, it depends on how this one works out. I don't know if everybody just puts me in just because they're tired, they don't like the other people. Who knows?
So you said you were on you have experience in finance, and you talked a little bit about your opinion on misspending and the school board for Beavercreek. What do you intend to resolve with that spending?
Well, the thing is I don't know what the issues are, so that's why one of the things I want to get into is investigating, researching, and identify. Because
okay.
I can't promise any resolution or solution without actually knowing what the problem is.
Right. Understood. Is there anything, before we end this podcast, is there anything you want folks who may be listening to know about yourself and about your campaign?
Well, I'm a straight shooter. I'm not afraid to ask or answer any questions that come my way. And just remind everybody exactly what a write-in candidate is. So
definitely, when
you look at your ballot, there'll be a blank line. If you want me, you got to write my name in. So remember it or write it down before you go vote.
So it's Mark, M-A-R-K, right?
That's correct.
And spell your last name, Passage?
P-A-S-S-A-G-E.
All right, just like it sounds. Mr. Passage, thank you for coming on Truman's Town Hall.
Thank you, Truman.